Everyone's asking, what is AI going to do to us? But nobody's asking what it's revealing about us. When organizations deploy AI to make better decisions, it doesn't necessarily fix their problems. It magnifies them. So if you came here thinking AI's the threat, I want you to sit with a more uncomfortable idea. What if we're the problem? So Deloitte's 2026 Global Human Capital Trends report hit us with a bombshell. They talked to over 9,000 business and HR leaders worldwide, and they found something pretty unsettling. When companies use AI to make decisions, it doesn't magically fix their problems. Instead, it makes their existing weaknesses even bigger. More than half of all organizations, 57% to be exact, are operating with what Deloitte calls low decision-making maturity. In plain English, they're essentially flying blind. And now they're doing it with AI. Right now, 60% of execs are already leaning on AI for their big calls. And get this, by 2027, Gartner predicts that half of all business decisions will have AI fingerprints all over them. But here's the kicker. Only 5% of leaders actually feel like they're making real headway in figuring out how humans and AI should work together. That's a tiny percentage. A whopping 59% of companies are just throwing tech at the problem, instead of putting people first. But the ones who do focus on the human side, they're 1.6 times more likely to crush their AI goals. And nearly half of workers, 42%, say their company barely even thinks about how AI affects its people. Deloitte calls this cultural debt, and it's piling up fast. Even worse, 80% of leaders, managers, and regular employees are worried their colleagues are faking it with AI, looking productive when they're really not. This has been called workslop. Think of this as AI-generated junk food for your brain. Looks good, but totally empty calories. AI makes the experts even better, but for everyone else, it just creates more workslop. And the research is clear. The gap between the top performers and everyone else is getting wider, not closing. The Atlantic Council's 2026 Geopolitics report, it's got a whole section dedicated to how AI is chipping away at our human judgment. Their big takeaway? AI challenges human judgment and identity more deeply than at any other time in history. Now that's a heavy statement. And here's the kicker. In our already polarized world, AI-generated content isn't just misinformation. It's a weapon. Not because AI is evil, but because our human information landscape was already a toxic mess. The World Economic Forum, back in March 2026, dropped this gem. Artificial intelligence is rapidly becoming a default layer of human cognition. Basically, AI is becoming how we think by default. They're tracking three big problems. Cognitive offloading. We stop thinking for ourselves. Illusions of accuracy. AI sounds so confident, we just believe it. And narrowing of thought patterns. We prioritize quick answers over deep understanding. The WEF's stark warning to leaders? Cognitive offloading and automation bias threatens the intellectual stamina required for national competitiveness and democratic stability. Translation, if we let AI do all the heavy lifting, then our brains get soft, and that's bad for everyone. And here's where it gets interesting. Everyone looks at these same facts and comes to wildly different conclusions. Some folks read that Deloitte report and just shrug. Bad leadership is bad leadership. Their take? AI is just a tool. If your company's a mess, then AI just makes it a messier mess. The tech isn't the problem, the culture is. So don't slow down AI. Fix your company first. And the Stanford 2026 AI Index, it backs them up. 88% of organizations are already using AI, and we're seeing real productivity boosts. 14 to 26% gains in customer support and software development. Then there are the alarmists. They see the same research and then freak out. And the Atlantic Council's warnings about our judgment, to them, this isn't just a management hiccup. If we collectively stop thinking for ourselves across an entire generation, we're losing something irreplaceable. That's not just bad for business. That's a threat to civilization itself. And then there's the third camp. They say it's not just the tech, and it's not just the culture, it's a design problem. The WEF argues that we need to treat AI like cognitive infrastructure, meaning we need to design it to make us smarter, not lazier. They believe it's fixable, but only if the people building these tools are honest about their goals. Right now, most AI is built for speed and convenience, not for sharpening your mind. This whole tension between fix your culture, we're losing our minds, and build better tools, that's why this whole AI conversation is so messy. Because that same Deloitte stat, that 57% of companies flying blind, to some, it's a dire warning. To others, it's a massive opportunity. Same numbers, totally different vibes. Here's the real tea. We keep asking what AI will do to us, but the tougher question is, what does our use of AI reveal about us? Every messed up company culture that brings in AI just winds up with a faster, more efficient version of its own mess. AI is a mirror, plain and simple. And right now, a lot of us aren't loving the reflection. If you're slapping AI onto a broken decision-making process without fixing it first, you're just going to crash and burn faster. That Deloitte research is a massive red flag for any leader thinking AI will magically fix our strategy. Nope. The research says it only makes it worse. The companies crushing it with AI are not the ones who adopted it first. They're the ones who already had their act together. Clear decision-making, real accountability, honest data. AI gave them superpowers. For everyone else, it just sped up their failure. The WEF is sounding an alarm that almost no one in tech is listening to. If AI becomes our default way of thinking and we stop exercising our brains, we're going to lose something we can't ever get back. This isn't some sci-fi movie. It's happening right now. Quick test. Try solving a math problem without your phone, or writing a paragraph without an AI assistant. Do you feel that little twitch of discomfort? That's what we're talking about. It's not about whether AI is useful. It's whether we are still smart enough to use it wisely. The Atlantic Council's warning is the one that should keep you up at night. If distinguishing real from fabricated content becomes difficult, then so too does distinguishing what humans uniquely contribute. If we can't tell what's real, then how do we know what we bring to the table? Fast forward 20 years. The people who can still think deeply, independently, and critically, they'll be the most valuable assets in any room. Not because AI isn't around, but because they'll be the ones who can actually steer it, challenge it, and know when it's completely off course. The real superpower isn't just having AI. It's keeping your brain sharp while still using it. I call this show The Bridge Briefing because you just can't look at these stories from one angle. The biggest AI stories aren't just about tech. They're about culture. They're about us. They're about what we're building and whether we're still calling the shots. So before we sign off, let's throw on a couple different hats. The AI hat. These were the companies that were already doing it right. They were the companies that are most benefiting from AI. It's making what they do even better. The infrastructure hat. JLL says we're building $3 trillion in new compute infrastructure by 2030 just to run whatever we tell AI to do. These data centers don't care what they're processing. So the real question is, what are we asking them to run? The Mystic Hat. You just can't upgrade the mirror and expect a different reflection. And finally, the Human Hat. The real wellness crisis isn't the AI tech itself. It's that we're being told to think less, while somehow actually believing that we're thinking more. Maybe that's the real story here. Not that AI is getting smarter, but that the companies rushing to use it are skipping the toughest part, asking if they're even ready to use it right. AI is hitting the gas. The question isn't if we can keep up, it's if we're even worth keeping up with. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you next time on the Bridge Briefing.